Want to get better with money this year? Start by creating your 2025 financial plan. Keep listening, and we'll help you set this up. Hello, and welcome to the Wealth Minded MD podcast with your money best friends. I'm Dr. Lisha Taylor.
And I'm Dr. Brittne Halford.
And of course, we're here to help you build wealth and make good money decisions so you can create the life you desire with more control over your time.
Hey, Lisha, one of the most important financial tasks we do as doctors is protect ourselves, which means getting the right insurance. I recall purchasing my insurance policy just a few days before I graduated from residency. What was your experience?
So I got my insurance when I graduated from medical school right before I started residency. I actually called a few agents, but I had the best service from Pradeep Auto at PKA Insurance Group. He was super responsive and personable. Unlike some of the other agents, Pradeep actually got me quotes from all the major companies and actually took the time to explain the nuances in each of their policies. What I loved most is that he wasn't just this way for me. Whenever I would send one of my friends to him, he would not only speak to them, but he'd also let them know where to go or who to contact if there were better options or discounts available.
At PKA Insurance Group, Pradeep Auto and Matthew Peterson are independent brokers focusing on disability and life insurance. They excel in securing coverage for physicians and other medical professionals. Discounts on disability insurance can range from 10 to 40% depending on your situation. And there is now an A+ rated carrier offering up to $10 million of life insurance without lapse. If you are very healthy with limited to no medical issues, approval is likely in 5 minutes. Reach out to PKA Insurance to discuss your disability or life insurance needs at www.pkainsurance.com or call 1-800-258-1018.
All right, Brittne, it is the new year, as we have discussed before. New year, new you. Tell me what is going on in your life.
You know, I don't believe in the new year, new you because I like the old me. I've just been reflecting a lot about 2024, reflecting about what I desire in 2025. So I'm really excited that we're going to talk about creating your financial plan for this episode. And I've just been trying to understand what parts of me I want to improve on. I'm not going to become a fully new woman. I'm still the same Brittne, but there are parts of my life that I want to improve on. What about you? How's your new year? What's going on in your world?
I finally finished the book Atomic Habits. I finally finished it. And this book was amazing. So it was totally on me as to why it took so long. And you know a book is good when you're like scouring social media and you happen to see lists of like books everybody should read, right? And Atomic Habits is up there at all times. And so I had gotten this book as a gift, I'm embarrassed to say, a full year ago. I finally had started reading it and finished it, and it was amazing. So anybody who has not read the book, I highly recommend. I think it was perfect timing because that book is all about how to create optimal habits, stop suboptimal habits in the most effective manner. And the takeaways, spoiler alert, is, when it comes to habits, right? You want to make them obvious. You want to make them attractive. You want to make them satisfying. And I think I'm missing one of the other key points.
Easy. You want to make them easy.
Yes, that's right. That's right. See, man, you are good. See, this is why we work well together. But anyway, I was thinking about that in terms of some of the habits that I want to be more consistent with and some of the habits that I would like to break. As I'm listing these out just for context, right? I mentioned, I think, wanting to drink more water, wanting to work out more consistently, eating fruits and veggies daily, right? Having those 3 to 5 servings that they recommend, reading daily so that I can make sure that I'm continuing to finish books on time, scrolling social media less. I spend a lot of time on social media in the mornings, in the evenings. So I was trying to curb that habit, getting more sleep, decreasing my alcohol consumption, AKA my wine habit, right? So as I'm thinking about all of these things, I was reading the book Atomic Habits, and it was like just the perfect timing because now I feel like I have better tools to be more consistent in keeping up with those goals. And the reason why I mention it here on this financial podcast is because in one of those tenets that he mentioned, where he talks about making it satisfying, there is a part in there about being able to see your progress, being able to track what you've done. And he gives some examples about maybe you have a calendar and you cross off each day that you do do actually drink the right amount of water. Maybe you put marbles in a clear glass to track your progress on how many days, for me, that I actually make my morning smoothie and remember to take my multivitamin. Maybe it is having trackers on your phone using some sort of workout device so that I could see how many calories I'm burning each day that I actually get 10,000 steps, those sorts of things. So those are some of the suggestions that he has. And I said, you know what? I'm going to put this into action. I'm going to put this into action. So I got on Amazon because one of the habits I do need to break is my Amazon cart. But I got on Amazon and I said, you know what? I'm going to get a little pocket calendar that I can use to kind of track my progress on the days that I actually work out. And I love the color pink. It's my favorite color. So I ordered some pink heart stickers and I'm going to put a sticker on each day that I actually work out, right? So I could see my progress. I'm trying to remember to drink my daily smoothie. So I got some pink marbles that I'm going to put into a little vase. So each day that I actually drink it, I can track my progress. I want to save even more money this year. And so he talked about the value of actually renaming your savings account so that every time you put money in there, you see exactly what it's for. So I renamed one of my accounts, new car, hallelujah. I'm putting that into existence. I put in there dream house. Ooh, makes me excited just to think about it. So now, whenever I am not spending money on Amazon, whenever I do not buy that new dress and I put money into my savings account, I actually see, oh yeah, I'm working towards that goal. So those are some of the things that I've been doing, and I feel like it's been helpful. I mean, we're only a few days in, so you got to check back in with me. But so far, if you could tell from my voice, I am very jazzed up about this.
Well, I'm excited that you're excited and that you're creating a strategy to achieve your goals. I think it is very important that we incorporate the principles of atomic habit. And a lot of the principles that you mentioned align with what I teach in quality improvement to the residents. And it's like human factor engineering. You want to make it easy for humans to do what's right, to do what's well, to make it visible that we're actually doing the right thing. Because once you introduce a barrier, I mean, you're done, you know? And when we think about our finances, I often reflect on how can I remove myself from the equation? Because life happens to all of us. It's January, the hospital is full of COVID, RSV, flu, everybody rapid AFib. I mean, like I was on the wards and I'm like, okay, if somebody else goes into RVR, like guilt drips from everybody, I'm just Oprah handing out guilt drips, right? But what I say that to say, I was very tired. So did I spend time reviewing my finances? No, I did not. And if we can think about how do we remove ourselves from the equation, then we can do more things right. And then how do we make it as easy, as you mentioned, and as visible that we're actually doing the things that are moving the needle forward so that we give our brain those dopamine hits and we keep doing them, whether that's budgeting, automating your savings, making sure that you're paying down your debt, and like having a little tracker to see the debt actually going down every time. That's going to keep you motivated. Oh, I only got 10 more thousand. I can get this done in 10 months. Once you see the needle moving, I think that motivates us. So I'm super excited that you finished the book. One of my goals for the new year is to read 4 books. I think that's what the average American does. And I told my husband this and he's like, baby, I ain't marry an average American. I'm like, yeah, but I'm average in this thing. I can't be, super in everything. And I listen to a lot of books via Audible, but I don't sit down and read a physical book. So that's my goal, is to sit down and read 4 physical books this year. So thank you, Lisha, for the reminder. If you have any other recommendations, let me know. I've read Atomic or listened to Atomic Habits, but I need to purchase a few new books.
Oh man, I will definitely start thinking of some new books for you. One other thing that is sort of money related to this that I purchased was an app on my phone. I hardly ever purchase apps, but in this instance, clearly what I had been doing was not working. So it required a little investment. So I purchased this app called Freedom. And what it is a social media blocker for me. So I actually,
That's good.
as you can see, y'all, Brittne knows me. She's like, yep, you needed that. So what it does is it can prevent you or block your ability to go on certain apps on your phone at certain times of the day. So I had it block my ability to go on any form of social media past like 9 p.m. on weekdays and past like maybe 10 or 11 p.m. p.m. on weekends. I also had it block my ability to go on social media anytime in the morning before 9 a.m. Because what was happening is my alarm would go off. I would press snooze like 20 times. And then when I finally did get up, I would have this habit of scrolling social media. And what I realized is I was wasting precious time in the morning when I am super productive by going on social media. And so
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I've been telling myself, have some self-control. I was not successful with the self-control. So I said, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. If this is something that is important to me, I'm going to purchase this app. I'm going to have it block my ability to go on social media in the mornings, in the evenings, so I could get better sleep, and in the mornings, I could be more productive. And so far, so good. I mean, the app has been working. There are times where I click Instagram and it's like, your time has been free to do other things. And I'm like, okay, the blocker is on. All right. And there's been times I've been tempted to turn that thing off. Let me edit the time. But you know what? I'm happy. So sometimes you do have to make an investment to see the level of improvement that you desire.
So, Lisha, that really resonated with me. And I'm sure it resonates with many of our listeners because when we think about the amount of time that we use and spend scrolling, that equates to probably for many of us, like 10 plus hours a month. What if we spent 10 plus hours a month on our finances, reviewing them, setting up better habits, creating a better asset allocation, reading a financial book, listening to a financial podcast? How much more money and freedom would we have? And so I am thinking about, okay, all of the ways that I could apply that in my life. I also wake up in the morning and I scroll. One of the things that I told my mother is I just don't want to use my phone as an alarm clock. I want to put my phone in the bathroom or downstairs and maybe use my watch as an alarm clock so that I don't have the phone nearby. The scrolling at night, it takes time away from the time that I'm spending with my husband. So you speaking to me, I'm thinking of all the ways that I could use that app and all the time that I will save and how much better my relationships will be and how much bigger my bank accounts will be.
Hey, I'm with it. I'm with it. And speaking of investing in yourself, Brittne and I have our Boost program that helps you increase your income and monetize your passions. And so if you're like us and you're trying to make some improvements in 2025, perhaps one of those things that is important to you is not only being healthier, not only saving more money, but also making more money and making more money at your job and outside of your job. Please don't forget to check out our program Boost. Just go to wealthmindedmd.com/boost and you will hear all about it. It's our group coaching program. We're still accepting enrollees. We will be closing the doors soon. And so if this resonates with you, if you want to be able to enhance your skills this year, make more money this year, start a side gig so that you can cut back from your main gig, leverage some 1099 income for some tax benefits to lower your taxable income, all that good stuff, please don't forget to check out our program Boost. As physicians, one of the most important things that we can do is make sure that we secure our income because a lot of our financial plans are contingent on our high doctor income. One of the things that you will need to do is make sure that you get long-term disability insurance.
Now, Pradeep and his team at PKA Insurance Group have a reputation for putting people over profits and always doing what's best. Do not hesitate to email PKA Insurance and his team today.
They will help you get the insurance you need with the service you deserve.
All right. So now let's move into our financial focus of this podcast episode. And this is creating a financial plan for 2025. Because sometimes when you're thinking about all the things that you need to do, all the things that you want to do, it can be completely overwhelming. And we don't want this to be overwhelming at all. So this is why we're going to give you a step-by-step what you should do in order to create a financial plan. I also want to say that we're not going to end the financial plan with this episode. So make sure that you subscribe because future episodes, we're going to talk all about investing, asset allocation, boosting your retirement savings. So we're going to give you the beginning steps and then keep listening for the rest of the steps to really finalize your financial plan. Lisha, I don't know about you, but anytime I'm creating a financial plan and trying to improve something, and I'm bringing in some of the QI principles here, the first step in QI, and one of the biggest missteps that I see people making all of the time in quality improvement, is that they make a lot of assumptions. a lot of assumptions based upon their one perspective, not asking other people. And when you assume, you know what they say. So it is imperative that we really reflect on 2024 from an emotional perspective, but get some data to understand current state. When you're doing your 2024 reflection, so that's the first step, 2024 reflection, Lisha, what steps do you take to really accurately understand your 2024 financial performance?
So, one of the things that I will do is take a look at where I allocated money last year, in the previous year. One of the things I love to do, maybe for motivation, is to check out my net worth, to calculate my current net worth. Some people do that at the end of the year, some people do that at the beginning of the year, but it's really taking, all right, what are all of the assets that I have and own? What is the value of all of my investments and all of the accounts? And then I subtract out the things that I owe, right? What are any debt payments, student loans, or whatever? What are the things that I owe? And what is that number? And it is a very humbling experience for me at this stage in my financial journey because I still have student loans. And so for me, seeing the large amount that I have in debt payments does bother me. And I am highly motivated to pay that down or use OPM, other people's money, to pay that down through student loan programs and really increase my investments. For a lot of us in medicine, the first goal is to really get back to broke. Many of us have negative net worths into hundreds of thousands because of those student loans. And so that's always been a goal of mine. So one of the things I like to do is just to calculate my net worth and see how far I am along that journey. It is a very humbling experience. It is a very eye-opening experience. I'll take a look at my savings accounts and I'll see how much money did I save in the year prior. Is this sufficient? We'll talk about in a subsequent episode about the different levels of savings and sort of how I do that. But I will take a look at my savings accounts. I'll take a look, as I mentioned, in my investment accounts and calculate my net worth. And I try to come up with some goals for the new year. You know, if I saved $30,000 last year, okay, can I save another $30,000 this year? Maybe I could increase that a little bit. If I invested $40,000 last year in investment accounts, or 50,000 or 60 or whatever it was, can I do the same thing at least this year? And perhaps can I increase it? And so the first part is to reflect on my journey, right? What did I do last year? And then make some goals for the next year.
I love that. I also really like the idea of tracking your net worth. One of the things that I've done with coaching clients is to have them do a net worth tracker and to track it every month. Sometimes they don't actually do it every month, but at least every quarter, because it's just like what you said, putting the marbles in a jar or putting the hearts on a calendar of how many weeks you drank the amount of water that you desired. It allows you to see your progress. I also just want to provide just a moment of clarity of net worth. It's a snapshot in time. It's just like a selfie. Like some days my selfies look good. I have my hair done, my nails done, my makeup done. And some days I take a selfie and it looks like I have a bedhead, right? So it is a moment in time, but it helps you to understand what your current state is. Because if you don't know where you are, then how can you understand where you're going? When you put a destination in the GPS, one of the things that they have to understand is your current location in order to devise the route, in order to guide you efficiently. And I think many people miss this step because they feel a certain way about how much they achieved, or they have FOMO because they see what's on social media. And just by feeling that way, by feeling bad or having FOMO, means that you also have a fixed mindset, that you don't understand that you can change this. Like your net worth means nothing about your self-worth, it means nothing about your identity. And it says just where you are. Also, sometimes you have a net worth because you just purchased a big home. Sometimes you have a net worth is because you decided to invest in yourself and enhance your skills. So you went back to school to get an MBA, etc. And so you had to take out a little student loan debt in order to achieve that goal. So your net worth is not a defining moment. It is something that gives you clarity. It is a data point to build upon. So I just wanted to clear that up just in case you're looking and you feeling like Lisha, like, oh my gosh, all these student loans, all these things. Just understand why it is what it is, because you decided to invest in yourself, to go to medical school, to be a doctor so that you could have greater impact, or to be whatever healthcare professional so that you could have greater impact. there is a purpose for that debt and it doesn't define you. The net worth doesn't define you. You're actually doing good in the world, despite what the numbers say. All right. So now that that's all cleared up, you also mentioned step number 2 is setting clear financial goals for 2025. So we talked about financial goals, like what some of our financial goals are. I'm spending a lot of time reflecting on how can I better achieve my financial goals. So one of the things that I have done is, like you said, atomic habits, like making it visible, your progress visible. So I have this huge whiteboard in my office. I wrote down all of my 2025 goals. I have 11 goals. And when I achieve them, I'm going to cross it off. Or when I have a step for progress, I'm going to write that step that I completed and put a little check mark by it so that my goals are visible. And one of the things is I think when we're setting goals for 2025, we set these big goals, but then we don't look at them, right? So make your progress visible. Lisha, how are you working towards achieving your financial goals? I know you told us a lot about like atomic habits and what some of the things that you're doing, but do you have any tips for others of how they can progress and set really clear financial goals?
That's a good question. I think making it concrete is helpful. Instead of just saying, I want to save more, saying, I want to save $20,000, right? Having a concrete goal, I think is really helpful. One of the things that I've done is sort of what you alluded to earlier is eliminate myself as the barrier. That means whenever I am working a shift at the urgent care, I actually set it up so that 20% of my paycheck goes directly to my savings account. Because let me tell you, it's like, could I theoretically move the money from my checking account to my high yield savings account for these goals that I listed earlier? Sure. Do I do those things? Not as often as I would like. So it's so funny. I forgot that I had set this up for my urgent care gig. And so it's funny, over the last months or last few weeks of the 2024, I was working a couple of urgent care shifts. And so I had gotten paid a couple of times. And I forgot that I had set up that automatic savings because the way my email is set up, whenever I get money automatically deposited into my checking account, I actually get an email. But I do not get the same email when money is deposited into my savings account. So the last couple of paychecks, I got this email. So I knew I had gotten paid from the urgent care and I would check my checking and I would see it. But one time I logged into my bank and I was like, hold on now. Is that my savings account? Is that number? That's a little bit higher than I thought. And I was like, where did that money come from? And I forgot that I had set up the automatic savings there. Because one of the things that I wanted to do was save more in advance for travel and not to feel like, oh, a trip is coming up. Let me work a couple urgent care shifts this week because I need the money by a certain time. So I wanted to save in advance. And so I actually have my vacation fund connected to my bank account or whatever. And there are some trips that I do need to pay for soon. And I'm like, well, look at there. I got the money right there. And so it was pleasing to me to see that. So my point in telling this story is the value of maybe eliminating yourself as the barrier. Instead of just saying, I'm going to have automatic savings, maybe taking it a step further and having a percentage of that paycheck deposited directly into a savings account or a high yield savings account or a money market fund or whatever. So that's one of the tidbits that I started last year that I've been very pleased by.
Congratulations. Because I remember in one of our very early episodes, you had mentioned how you kind of overspend when you go on vacation and how you feel a little bothered of that. And you're trying to figure out how to enjoy life while meeting your other financial goals. And we had kind of worked through that in the episode. And look at you, you got that financial account set up. It's funded. You're ready to go. So I think that's one of the things about taking action, because if we do nothing, you're going to get the same result. But if you actually set up the systems for you to be successful and you have the proper inputs, then you can predict what the outputs will be. And that is how you can achieve your financial goals in 2025. So I love that. One of the things that I have been doing with my list of goals is also not only thinking about financial goals for 2025, but what about the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter, and breaking them down into quarterly quests. And that is not a term that I invented. I stole that from somebody that I've seen on YouTube, but I really like that idea of quarterly quest because in 3 months, I can achieve so much. And if you wait until the end of 2025 to be working towards these goals, then you're not going to be as successful. So make the big goal, but then break it down. So if you want to save, let's say maybe $40,000 in your retirement accounts, check in and say, okay, I'm going to set it up so that I can save $10,000 a quarter and have that money allocated. Do what Lisha did, set it up out of sight, out of mind. It's going there. And then when you look at the account, you're going to be pleased with your progress. So try to think about what are the systems that I need to create in order to achieve this goal. Instead of making it a yearly goal, take that year goal and break it down into quarters and make sure you go in and you evaluate. Lisha, can you tell us about step number 3? What do you think step number 3 is for creating your financial plan for 2025?
Yeah, I think step 3 is to update your budget. I know it's the B word, which we all kind of hate. So maybe you're like me and you call it a spending plan, right? Because it has more of a positive spin on it. So whether it's a budget or a spending plan, you need to update basically where your money is going and make sure that it's going where you want it to go. And so that may mean looking at how much money you expect to get paid this year, right? Did you get a raise from the last year? Are you expecting any bonuses this year? Do you have any changes in the degree of bills or the amount of money that you need to allocate to different priorities, right? So reassess your income and your expenses, prioritize your needs. So maybe you need to allocate some more money for housing or insurance or savings or investments before you start spending money. So reassess your income and expenses, prioritize your needs, and then try to automate some of the things if you can to make your life a little bit easier, whether that is automating bill payments or automating savings, as I was talking about before.
Updating your budget is such an important step. And honestly, Lisha, can I be transparent with you?
Oh, please.
It is one of the things that, although I know it is so important, sometimes I do not like to do it. Sometimes I do not like to do it because it requires me to get an accurate estimate on how much are we actually spending on all of these things. How I've made that process easier is I used to use an app called Mint that would help me to just go through, okay, this is a little TMI, people, but you're in the bathroom doing your business and you're like, okay, let me just go in and quickly categorize my expenses. So it was that easy. Like I could do it in like a couple of minutes if I did it every day or did it once a week. That app no longer exists. So now I use Rocket Money to help me to kind of understand how we are spending our money, especially because it's not just me. It's also my husband. So I have to look through his expenses as well without a judgmental hat and just to go through and see what the numbers actually are. But I love to base our spending plan on accurate numbers. I recently did this with a coaching client and she's like, I think I spend this much. I think I spend this much. I think I spend this much. And I was like, okay, how much income do you have? She had $7,000 left over. However, she felt broke. She felt like she was living paycheck to paycheck, that she was not allocating her money appropriately. And so basing our budgets on inaccurate data is not going to get us to where we need to go. So create some type of system, find some type of app if you need it, create a spreadsheet, whatever you need to do to make this process easy. But you want to make sure that you're not basing it on an assumption, that you're basing it on accurate information for you to create a reasonable plan for you to stick with and be successful with, and then create the systems that allow you to do that. So this number 4, which is building or replenishing your emergency fund, this is speaking to my heart because this is one that I am currently working on, is getting our emergency fund to 6 months worth of expenses. Now, Lisha, I know that they say that the target is 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, and you typically would save it in like a high yield savings account or like a money market account or something like that so that you can earn additional interest. Do you advise that everyone just focuses on boosting their emergency fund to 6 months before they do any other step in a financial plan or achieving financial goals?
I do not. I do not. I'm going to talk about this, I think, in a little bit more depth in one of the episodes coming up. But I believe that there are levels to savings. There's different degrees of savings. And the 3 to 6 month mark is one particular level. But I don't think, in my personal opinion, people have to get to 6 months before they do anything else. Some people work better when they can solely focus on one thing. And so for some people, depending on their personality type, that might be how they prefer to do it. But do I think that is necessary for everybody? No. I think that it is totally fine to say, I'm going to build my emergency fund as I continue to, for example, invest for retirement. I'm going to build my emergency fund as, for example, I continue to pay down my student loans, right? I don't think that you have to fully achieve that level of savings in an emergency fund before you pursue other financial targets.
Thank you. I agree with that perspective. And I think it's really important for us to share that because having emergency fund, to be honest with the audience, saved us this year in purchasing this new home. Man, the saga continues, people. I'm like, not another problem. And I'm so grateful that we had an emergency fund that we could still take a vacation. We didn't have to sacrifice our investments or anything. Our emergency fund was available to us. But I've also been there where I look in the emergency fund and I see all of this money just sitting, earning 3 to 4% interest. And I wonder, how could I use this money better for more growth, investing in a taxable brokerage account or saving for our kids' education instead of having the money being stagnant. So I think it really depends on you setting those goals and the levels and creating a plan that will support you to have enough just in case something were to happen that you wouldn't have to dramatically alter your existence, but also not having money being stagnant when it could be working harder for you than you do for it. Well, this takes us to number 5. I'm glad that I'm mostly done with this step, which is optimizing debt repayment strategies, but I have 2 mortgages. That's a real long-term goal for me. So, Lisha, how do you help people to understand what their debt repayment strategy should be and balance out their emergency fund with some of the other tasks that might be on their financial plan for 2025?
Yeah, I think first you got to take inventory of what debt you have and the details and the nuances associated with it. Some people may have very little debt, other people may have a lot of debt. Many people have different types of debt. Where do you stand in that? And so, first, it's like taking inventory, right? Who do you owe? What amount do you owe them? And at what interest rate is that accumulating? And so, that might be something like student loans, right? Broad category. All right, what are the different kinds of student loans? Do I have federal student loans, private student loans, a mix of both? How much do I have in federal student loans, private loans, or the mix of both? What are the interest rates on them? Is there a certain deadline by which I need to pay these off? And then nuances associated with that. Maybe you're enrolled in a student loan forgiveness plan. Maybe you have some other student loan program or grant or whatever that is making part of those payments for you or planning to forgive part of that debt. But maybe another category is consumer debt. And we're thinking about credit cards. We're thinking about personal loans. We're thinking about car loans, right? How much do you owe in each of those categories? What are the interest rates associated? And any important nuances that you might need to factor in. Oh, I've got this credit card, but it's 0% interest for the first 6 months. I got a little bit more leeway. Or, oh, I've got this car loan, but it actually has a prepayment penalty, so I can't pay it off faster. Or, oh, I have this personal loan, but this personal loan actually does need to be paid back in the next 18 months or something else happens. So writing down your consumer debt. And then I think any other forms of debt that you may have. Brittne, you mentioned you had already paid off your student loans, but you have 2 mortgages, right? So you're paying off 2 homes and writing down, okay, how much left do we have on the mortgage? What is the interest rate? Any nuances associated with that? Maybe we do submit an extra mortgage payment each year, or maybe we do pay a few $100s extra on the mortgage each month. So writing down the debt that you have, the amounts, the interest rates, I think are really important. And then optimizing that debt repayment strategy may look different for different people. But I know for me, one of my first priorities is just looking at those interest rates and saying, hey, where am I chasing my tail? In other words, what form of debt really requires my earnest attention? And for a lot of people, it's that consumer debt portion. If you've got credit card debt that's accumulating at a 20% interest rate, you're not going to save your way to beat that. It's going to be very difficult to invest your way to beat that. So maybe you do need to focus your attention on getting rid of some of that high interest consumer debt versus on the opposite end of the spectrum, people like you, Brittne, who have a mortgage. It's like, all right, Lisha, I might be able to make one extra mortgage payment, but that mortgage ain't coming off anytime soon. So they got to figure out, where you are. Is there debt that requires your undivided attention? And then taking a look at each category of debt and saying, is there something different that I can do this year? Is there something better that I can do this year? I think I had mentioned on prior episodes that when I looked at my student loan debt, I said, hey, you know what? I'm enrolled in this public service loan forgiveness program, which is going to forgive my debt in the next 4 years, which is fantastic, right? Just need to make the minimum payment until then. Thankfully, a lot of that stuff is paused right now. But is there another way that I could tackle this that can make this even better? And for me, that was, hey, why don't I apply to some other student loan forgiveness programs and see if I can get them to make that mandatory debt payment? Maybe I can use that as a backup. So if anything happens with the one program that I'm in, I have another program that will cover my bases. Are there any grants or things that I already qualify for that would be extra free money for me? And that's kind of what I mean when I say optimizing your debt repayment strategy. Is there something you haven't thought of that could make this better, help you pay down that debt faster or more efficiently?
Those steps are fantastic. And I think it's a logical approach to creating a debt repayment strategy. While money is very logical, we also have to acknowledge the psychological effects. And I think debt, or I know debt, is one of the things that burdens everybody. It does not matter who you are. We all feel a certain way about our debt. I just want you to make sure that you're caring for yourself in this time. Express some gratitude towards your debt. That has helped many clients to be comfortable with creating this strategy, whether it's consumer debt, your student loan debt, etc. And I also want to state that taking different action will feel uncomfortable. But if you want to become the person that you want to be, that discomfort is required. It is required. And I recently had a call with a coaching client who had a significant amount of debt. I said, hey, you got to pay this off. She said, oh, I know I do. Logically. I mean, she's a very intelligent woman. She's like, I know I do, but I'm afraid to do it. I said, well, why are you afraid? She said, because the money that I would use to do it is going to be gone. I will no longer have access to that cash because I will be utilizing that cash to pay off my debt. And I said, well, you understand that this debt is at 28%, right? And she's like, yes, but there's still some comfort in knowing that I have this cash in my bank account. So remember that money is a tool. And when you use your tools, you are obtaining a different goal. So yes, you're shifting funds from your bank account to paying down that debt. And it might feel like a greater loss by doing that, but just know that we cannot have a myopic point of view, that we need to be certain on our financial goals. And by having that emergency fund at whatever level you funded will allow you to support yourself as you pay off that debt. Like if something were to happen, you have that emergency fund to kind of cushion you. So I just wanted to put that out there because I think sometimes when we talk about money, we're like, yeah, do this, step one, step two. But money is not all logical. It can be very emotional, and just make sure that you're caring for yourself, giving yourself whatever you need, and having these steps as we are outlining to support you in doing that. Well, Lisha, I kind of laid it heavy on the therapy coaching side just then. Let's bring us back to one more logical step before we end this podcast.
You know, I think another logical step for your financial plan, if I had to wrap it up, would be to maybe schedule some regular check ins with your goals. We talked about some of these earlier steps as reflecting on last year, but I think one key action step for that is to think about what financial habits you want to keep, which financial habits you want to improve, and which financial habits you want to eliminate, right? Get a basis for what you want to do the next year. And then I think a good action step for the next part is thinking about what are your goals for 2025 and writing those down, making them concrete, and putting measures in place that enhance your ability to be successful in achieving them. And so as we think about this last step of scheduling regular check-ins, it's as simple as creating an alert in your phone at the end of January or at the end of the quarter saying, reminder, check your net worth, reminder, check your savings goals, reminder, do this or that. That way you can be reminded to check in with yourself and see, okay, am I progressing towards my goals in the manner that I thought I would be, or are there some tweaks that we need to make? I don't know if you've seen this commercial, Brittne, but there's this Apple Watch commercial that talks about how most people quit on their New Year's resolutions by the second Friday in January, how it's called Quitter's Day. And then Apple, of course, comes in and it's like, one way to not quit is to buy an Apple Watch, right? There's their whole promotion. But I think one of the things that we could do is think think about the message in that commercial is that so many people quit on themselves before the month even ends. And in the book Atomic Habits, just to go full circle here, they talk about how sometimes we overestimate the importance of doing things perfect and we underestimate the importance of just getting something done. We think, oh, it's all or nothing, right? My goal was to finish the book by the end of the month. If I didn't finish the book, then I failed. And it's like, well, maybe just make a goal to read one page. And maybe it's important to just say, I'm going to read a page each night than to have this lofty goal of reading 30 pages before you go to sleep. It's important to just keep at it. Sometimes we say, you know what, I don't feel like going to the gym, so I'm going to give up on my goal of exercising consistently. And it's like, okay, well, maybe it's not all or nothing. Maybe you have a goal of saying, I'm at least going to do 10 push-ups and 20 sit-ups, or I'm at least going to walk 2,000 steps. And so on the days that you're not as motivated, on the days that you are tired, you can at least hit that minimum marker to keep going. That book talks about the importance of just keeping going, and that sometimes it's better to do something bad than to not do it at all. Sometimes it's better to slog through the gym and say, you know what, I'm just going to walk for 10 minutes on this treadmill. I don't have it in me to run a couple miles today, than to not go to the gym at all. And so scheduling these regular check-ins, trying to make it easy for yourself to achieve these goals and not underestimating the importance of just staying consistent.
What I hear is intention. Like so much intention is required, right? Intention, implementation equals improvement. But if you don't first start with the intention to have the goal, then you're not going to improve. And I love the idea of setting regular check-ins. One of the things that, I need to do this myself, is to budget out the time. Budget out the time. And one of the best ways that I've learned to make the time more pleasant is by pairing it with something I really enjoy. And Atomic Habits talks about that, right? Making it enjoyable. So if you enjoy eating sushi, put it on a calendar that you're going to have your financial review and you got the budget for sushi. Like that's in your spending plan. You can give yourself $50 because sushi's kind of expensive. $50 to spend on sushi. And then on this Friday at this time, you're going to have sushi for lunch and you're going to spend doing your financial review. Take intention, make it pleasurable, gamify it if you have to, track your progress, and you can achieve these financial goals. Well, Lisha, I think that that's a wrap for the first steps. And in the next episodes, we're going to be talking about asset allocation, how to invest, how to prepare for retirement, making sure you have the appropriate insurance plans, all of the other tasks that need to be on your financial plan for 2025. I think it's time for some fun money. What do you think?
Yes, I think it is time for some fun money. I am actually very excited about this. Brittne, you go first. Tell us something fun that you're doing with money.
I have not spent the money yet, but I am starting to figure out how to use all these credit card points. My husband and I have decided that we are going to go to, drum roll please, Greece for our 10-year anniversary. I don't know what date, but Emirates flies there from Newark, New Jersey, direct. So I've started to plan it out, girl. I'm really excited, but I need to really put this on my schedule. Talking about accomplishing a financial goal, I need to carve out the time, get myself some sushi, and plan this trip. So if anyone has an itinerary for Greece, things that you loved, please let me know. I am super excited. I have not spent the money yet, but I'm planning how much I'm spending right now.
I am so excited for you. You should see if you can fly at least business class, if not first class on Emirates. Their first class, Emirates, is stellar. So I've heard. One of the reasons I've not done it is because it's from Newark, New Jersey, right? And I live in Atlanta. So it would require another kind of flight from Atlanta to Newark. But I'm highly thinking about this. I am planning a trip to Greece this year as well. It is not for a 10-year anniversary as I am not married, but my family, my cousins and I are going to Greece in September, or at least that is the current plan, Greece and Turkey. And so I have been thinking about flights and stuff like this. So if you're going to do the Emirates flight from Newark, New Jersey to Athens, Greece, you should totally fly at least business class, if not first class, utilizing points, because I know that paying cash for this is quite expensive. I'm sure you and your husband probably already have the points that you need. Post in the physician Facebook group your plans. People will gladly help you find some flights that might fit along with your dates. And I'm excited for you. I am excited for you and your husband. What month is y'all's anniversary? When are you thinking about going?
So our anniversary is May 23rd. I don't know if we're actually going to go in May. My nephew is graduating in May. My husband is being inducted to the American Psychiatry Academy. I think I might have that wrong, but I think it's the APA Society as a fellow. So we have a lot of things going on, and I want to use points and I want to fly Emirates. So I have to figure out what are the available dates. So we haven't decided exactly on the date, but that is when our anniversary. So even if we don't go to Greece May 23rd for our anniversary, we'll of course celebrate our anniversary, but I'm trying to plan strategically so that we can get the most bang for our buck.
I love that. I love that for you and for him. I'm excited for you to take this trip, especially if you're able to do business class or first class on that flight. You have to let me know how it is. This is the flight, for those who are not aware, that actually, like, when you think of Crazy Rich Asians, the movie where she and her partner were guided to the separate area of the plane and they have what looks like an apartment on the plane, and there's like a bar that you walk past and it's like a whole thing. That is the Emirates plane. Emirates and like Q Suites has these too. So anyway, I'm excited for you. I hope that you're able to do it. You got to send pictures, report back, all the things. For me and fun money, I have been spending some money on self-care things. So I went to Bath and Body Works, at least online, and got some new smell good soaps and air fresheners for my place. I have gotten this new line of skincare products from Tatcha. I'm not sure if you've heard the brand Tatcha. It's really, really popular, especially at Sephora. They have really nice facial cleansers and moisturizers. And so I've been buying Tatcha products. I've been seeing some progress. I love the way it makes my skin feel. One of my girlfriends was visiting around the new year. I don't know how we got on this subject, but I mentioned that I needed some more loofahs for the shower. And I asked her like what brand she used or where she purchased them from. And she said, you know what? I don't use shower loofahs. I use gloves. And I was like, huh? Girl, I've not heard of this. You're nodding your head. Clearly you have heard of it. I'm behind the 8 ball here. But she said, yeah, girl, there's like these gloves that you wear that you put on your hands in the shower. And it's like an exfoliating glove. So it's a little bit rough, but she says it makes your skin feel so smooth. It like sloughs off all the dead skin cells and all this stuff. So I said, you know, you haven't steered me wrong yet. I'm going to try them. So I said, yeah, I'm going to buy some cheaper ones from Amazon, see how I like them before I invest the real bucks here. Anyway, they came in from Amazon. I used them and girl, the skin was smooth. Okay. The skin was skinning. All right. And so I've been very into this like self-care, improving my skin and body kick. And so those are some of the things. So new soaps, new line of facial cleansers and moisturizers, and some exfoliating gloves. So that's what I've been doing with my money.
Self-care is so important. It allows us to just be a better version of ourselves. When we feel good, we do good. Well, we want to say thank you for listening to this episode. We hope that this was helpful. Please feel free to leave us a review, share this with your girlfriend, and let us know what you are doing. Which step that we've talked about are you currently working on? I know for me, it's building up that emergency fund to 6 savings, but we want to know from you as well. So let us know. And we are still enrolling for Boost. So if you're a woman who has a passion that you want to make profitable, Boost is for you. If you're wanting to increase your income at your job, then Boost is for you. So check out our website, wealthmindedmd.com/boost to find all the details. And if you have any questions, then feel free to send us a message so that we can make sure we clarify any confusion and get you to be the better you in 2025. Hello, and thank you for listening to our podcast. And because of that, we have something for you, our Wealthy Minds Blueprint.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I wish I could be better with money? Do you want to start investing and saving for retirement, but keep delaying because you don't know where to start? Our Wealthy Minds Blueprint is here to help.
This guide will teach you what you didn't learn in your training so you can stop being confused about money and start taking what we call wealthy-minded action.
We'll help you become a master of your finances and simplify investing so you can get started today. Take control of your financial future by downloading your free copy of the Wealthy Minds Blueprint now and start building the wealth you deserve.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Brooke. I'm recording a little disclaimer for my mommy, Dr. Brittne Halford, and her friend, Dr. Lisha Taylor. Just so you know, they're not financial advisors, tax professionals, lawyers, or financial planners. Everything you hear is for education and entertainment. It's not strict financial advice, you know? So use your best judgment chat with a tax professional and all those other people that you need to talk to. Thanks for tuning in today. Keep cruising on your journey to wealth and wellness. Bye-bye.
One of the most important things you can do is ensure you have long-term disability insurance. Long-term disability insurance secures your income if the unexpected happens and you are unable to work due to medical illness, chronic conditions, or an accident.
Unfortunately, all insurance agents aren't created equal. Some of them are so focused on making a sale that they fail to reveal certain necessary information, tell you about discounts available, or clearly explain the process. Pradeep Botto and his team at PKA Insurance Group are different. They have a reputation of putting people over profits and always doing what's best.
If you need life insurance or disability insurance, reach out to Pradeep and his team today. They will help you get the insurance you need with the service you deserve.